So this car has been sitting for the last 11 years. It's time to see if it can actually start. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another video here on the channel. It's finally time to see if this Camaro will actually start after sitting for the last 11 years. Now, if you didn't see the last video that I uploaded, I recently purchased a 92 Camaro RS for $3,000. The body is in immaculate shape and the car didn't run, but it also didn't have a battery when I purchased it. So, got a battery, installed it, want to see if we can turn this car over first. And if not, go through the process, check and see if the starter's bad, and then go from there. A loose starter bolt. That's all it took. Damn. I was gonna make a YouTube video on getting this thing started. A friggin' starter bolt. So what was meant to be a video trying to get this car to start, turns out it was just a loose starter bolt. So now it's time to do some maintenance to the car just to make sure everything's okay. So step number one, check the cap and the rotor. Mark was able to replace them on the car and then replace all of the wires. There's about a quarter of a tank of gas left in the car, so we're just gonna run it as is because one, that gas has been sitting for quite some time. And rather than replacing the spark plugs, the ones that are in there right now actually look pretty new. So we're gonna leave them and just replace the wires with the cap and the rotor for now. Last thing we'd wanna do is replace the wires, replace the plugs, and then foul plugs with some pretty bad gas. So we're gonna leave those as is. Let's dive into finishing up the wiring. And then I also got a new ignition coil that has to be installed as well. All right, so new MSD 8.5 millimeter wires all installed with some of the wire looms to keep them away from the headers. The next step is to get rid of that gross looking ignition coil. And I am going with a Street Fire Performance coil. This is Holley Performance, MSD, whatever you want to name it. It's all the same umbrella. So now it's time to take that off, put this on. Old coil. You can see the bracket on the bottom actually bolts the bracket that goes around the coil itself in place. So we're just going to take those bolts out so that way we can get to the bracket and install that. So here's the bracket that has to go on the car. Here's the new coil. And the one thing to look at least with the hardware that's included, you can see with this, it's got the long post with the holes on either side, and then it's got the larger one. That's what mounts into the car or the engine itself. These aren't really going to work. So what I am gonna do is just take the hardware from the old one and put it in place. That's done. Let's get it back on the car. Now, final step, take the ignition coil, and we're set. Ignition coil is in, new cap and rotor, new wires. That's all we have to do, so we can get that airbox back on, and then we'll go from there. So let's see. So it's safe to say we have a fully running Camaro. The next steps is to check the timing to make sure that this thing is running as smooth as possible, as well as go over the engine bay. It looks like that there is a oil leak of some sort, which is why the starter was covered in oil. Either that or somebody did a very, very sloppy oil change, which is possible. So it's safe to do a quick one-over of that, clean everything up so we know that if anything is smoking, hopefully it's residual from something previous and not a bigger issue for us to dive into. So make sure that you hit that subscribe button as well as the bell notification. That way you're notified of any other additional content that I do upload to the channel regarding the Camaro or the HHR. That's it. Thanks so much. Until next time, see you later.